Hello everyone, welcome again to my channel and thank you so much for clicking on this video. My name is Chinedu Abwim and in this channel I bring you tips, opportunities and everything you need in order to prosper and thrive in the UAE. Now today I'm going to be looking at an issue that has been on the top burner for a little bit for the past few months in the UAE, and that's the issue of the Nigerian population and visa, work permits and labor status and all that. So I'm going to be giving an update today on the latest trends or the latest happenings or the latest decision by the UAE government as regards issuing UAE visas to Nigerian nationals. And so please stay tuned to the end of this video so that you get to know all that is happening right now and all that is the position of the UAE government as regards giving UAE visas to Nigerians. Now, if you're trying to come into the UAE as a tourist, for now, any person below the age of 40, there is a halt issuing visas to Nigerians, particularly that are below the age of 40 years old. Now, if you're above the age of 40 years old, a new set of requirements have been put in place. And number one is this: it is required that if you want to come into the UAE as tourist, you must have at least the equivalent of 5,000 dirhams in your account at the point of applying for the visa. So there should be an equivalent of at least a minimum of 5,000 dirhams at the point of applying for your visa so that your application will be more favorably considered. Then when you're now coming into the UAE, it is required that you should have cash, a basic travel allowance of 5,000 dirhams minimum as well. So it's required you have it in your account as a minimum before applying for visa to make your visa application favorably considered. And then on entering or on coming to the airport to enter into the UAE, you must have cash, a minimum of 5,000 dirhams. So that is what has been stipulated, and really it is a very good one from the UAE government because they are trying to minimize the influx of miscreants into the country that will come and cause trouble and problem in the UAE. So that is why they instituted this new approach. Then also, when it comes to partner visas for the Nigerian nationals, if you're a Nigerian national and you want to get a partner visa, the laws have changed. It is now required that before you can apply and get a partner visa, you must at least have a 6-month bank statement taken to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Nigeria, in Abuja, approved and attested by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, before you can now come into the UAE and try to get a partner visa. What they are trying to do is very simple and really it makes sense. They are just trying to make sure that those people who are applying for partner visas in the UAE that are Nigerians actually have the money to invest in the UAE. So a partner visa is basically like an investment visa, but you're partnering with some people or with a company in order to invest in that company in the UAE and do business. So they don't want a situation whereby all sorts of odd people, all sorts of strange people who are not really serious about investing in the UAE or doing business apply for partner visas just to give them a cover to stay in the UAE and commit mischief or create problems. The UAE government is trying to avoid all that. So what they're now saying is that if you want to get a partner visa and you're a Nigerian national, you must have bank statements for 6 months showing proof of funds, and that bank statement must be attested by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Abuja, which is the capital of Nigeria. And incidentally, even in that bank statement, it was specified again that the proof of funds should be broken down month on month. So meaning that for every month, there should be proof that for the last 6 months, each month can show that you have a minimum of at least 5,000 dirhams consistently in each of those months for a period of 6 months. Because they also know that people also play some funny games, gather money from places, and just show up an account to show that there's a lot of funds in that account, and then try to use it to get a partner visa. So they made it in such a way that before you can even apply for the partner visa and get it, there has to be a proof of funds consistently month on month for a period of 6 months, attested by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Nigeria, in the capital city Abuja, before you can now come into the UAE based on partner visa and actually apply for the partner visa and get it. The only exception to this requirement we have seen so far, this requirement of having a minimum of 5,000 dirhams before you can enter into the UAE as a Nigerian citizen on tourist visa, is for those who already have residence in another country. So when it's proven that you already have residence in another country, then the UAE government sees it that you're not someone who is actually coming to really have residence in the UAE. You just probably are coming for some holiday, just like a tourist. So that requirement of having a minimum of 5,000 dirhams is relaxed for those who can show proof of residency in another country. So these are the changes that have taken place as regards Nigerians getting visa to come into the UAE or to be an investor in the UAE. Also, in addition, when you're now applying for visa, it is a must. You must show proof of stay. What does that mean? You want to come in as a tourist, you have to show a proof that you've already paid hotel bills in a particular hotel and that is where you're going to stay, or there is a particular person who has a particular address that you're going to stay in that person's house. So if there's anything that happens with you during your stay in the UAE, it will be easy for them to hold somebody responsible for you. So these are the current new changes as regards having UAE visas in the UAE for Nigerians, for Nigerian citizens. If you like the kind of content that I'm sharing with you and you have not subscribed, you could also consider subscribing. If you have subscribed, please also click the like button because it helps to push the video to more and more people so that they can view and gain from what you're gaining. Thank you so much for tuning in up until now. See you again in the next video.